Are you satisfied with the current coalition government that your party and the BJP is into?
Satisfaction is a relative term. You have always to relate it to the circumstances. So, considering the context, I am satisfied.
There has been recent announcement of the ceasefire by the central government, which your party and the chief minister was vehemently asking for, and the ceasefire has been called for the Ramzan. There are these possibilities and there are these apprehensions that will this ceasefire be extended for the Amarnath yatra and for the longer period if the way it is going right now?
For us, our party is nothing if not against any kind of violence. We came into existence on this slogan, in this belief that we would rid Kashmir of violence, the state, and which would ultimately translate into into a better future for the entire subcontinent. So we are that party which has given a new discourse, given a new narrative to Kashmir and to the resolution of Kashmir problem. And that has been built into our agenda of alliance also. So we always believe, and as Mufti Sahib used to say, the Chief Minister now said this even to the Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, recently when he was in Srinagar. Even if we have roads paved with gold, that is not going to resolve the problems. The development we are doing, but ultimately it is the resolution. And for that, we have been trying. Unfortunately, we are caught in very difficult situation. Ever since 2015 elections threw up a hung assembly, and in which the two major regions of the state, even Ladakh, voted differently. You know how the voters wanted perhaps a coalition of regions, a coalition of communities. And Mufti Sahib responded to that call, and it needed a bold statesman like him to take that call and ultimately do a decision to do business with BJP. Our agendas were poles apart. But I think now things are getting refined, they are getting reconciled at some level. And first it was brought down on the paper, and now you can say, you can see that everybody is demanding of us what you have done about the agenda of alliance. Even the separatists have been saying that. Our mainstream parties have. There is no other document anybody is referring to in the context of resolution. So that, I think, is a political achievement for not for us but for the people of Jammu and Kashmir, that we have now a roadmap for resolution.
My question is, will the ceasefire be extended to the Amarnath Yatra or way ahead than that?
We would want this ceasefire to last forever, not just Amarnath Yatra or Ramzan. But there's a caveat, big caveat. It is a unilateral ceasefire. Unless everybody else who is involved in Kashmir, whether at the political level or at the militancy level, agrees to carry it forward, it cannot remain unilateral forever. So everybody has to contribute to this. The militants have to respond positively. The Hurriyat leadership has to stop being rejectionists, that we reject everything. At least you have a lull for 1 week of Ramzan has passed off very peacefully, comparatively. So shouldn't we be grateful for that somebody has done this? So if we build this spirit of responding positively to this, I am sure that we can build a whole entire peace process on it, which can ultimately lead to resolution. Because people say there are different stakeholders, etc. I say it's we, us, the people of Jammu and Kashmir, who are the only stakeholders in this. Hindus, Muslims, Pandits, Dogras, Sikhs. If we decide that we have to bring back peace, we can make both our country, India and Pakistan, walk down that path. But first we have to be at peace with ourselves. So Pakistan will, as you see, Pakistan too has been involved in Kashmir, kind of a event-based. When Kashmir sees a rough patch, Pakistan becomes suddenly a party. There have been patches when Pakistan was nowhere because Kashmiris felt more satisfied. So that level of satisfaction has to come firstly from us by rethinking our own position, by revisiting what we have been doing and what we have been wanting, the huge gap between what we have invested in this and what we have achieved and what is a possibility of achievements. So unless we do that, I think the ceasefire will look like a watershed, but it will look only a first step to a big peace process if we are able to sustain it.
But why did the ceasefire happen now? Like the PDP has been in the government for the last 3 years, and there are like more than 400 civilians who got killed in the last 3 years. Shouldn't it had happened like much before than now?
Because the stone pelters gave us some breathing time. That is why this came. Otherwise, it was not that much of gun that was in evidence. Gun came in after this year. It has been on the rise, and there have been more killings because of militancy and anti-militancy operations. So that is something where you can put a brake on, but not when you go out and are caught by a mob and stoned to death. That is not a situation where you can ask the forces to come back home.
There was a recent statement by Farooq Abdullah saying that there should be an immediate governor's rule because the state is quickly going under anarchy in this government.
Unfortunately, he has given this statement at a very wrong time, when things have just started looking up. I think he's unnerved by that. Farooq Saab is an old war horse. He's our most respected and most senior-most politician now. I think he should be contributing to the discourse on Kashmir rather than doing a bickering for what he knows cannot be done. Because my belief is, and I have stated this, I state this again, the experiment of PDP and BJP coming together is a very historic, a very bold experiment. You will understand its value, its worth only when it is not there. And in my opinion, if this coalition cannot solve things, no other democratic arrangement can do that. Number one. Number two, we have had long stints of governors' rule. After that also you have to bring back politicians. And for that, I think Farooq Saab is relishing his role in '96, that things will perhaps come back to the same level where he is again called to form a government with whatever means. So I think much water has flown down the river since then. That's not possible. And if we, God forbid, try to break democratic arrangements this time, it might be perhaps a long wait for another experiment to take place in Kashmir.
You said that it is a very important experiment, the BJP-PDP coalition government. Will you go with the same experiment to in the next elections to the people? Because last time when you went to the people, it was keeping BJP away.
It is not. We don't have an electoral alliance with the BJP. We have a governance alliance with them. We will be dictated by our own vision whenever we get into elections.
In the agenda of alliance, PDP has demanded and said to the people that they will get back the power projects, 2 of the power projects from the NHPC. But recently Narendra Modi inaugurated a power project, Kishan Ganga. So what has been happening to that demand?
Kishan Ganga has, for the record's sake, it has not been given by us. It is one of those 7 power projects that were handed out to Government of India, to the NHPC, by Dr. Farooq Abdullah, when he had apparently no compulsion to do that. He had a unprecedented 60-member legislature party, a 3/4 majority in the assembly, and which is not possible perhaps in foreseeable future for any party to get. When he gave it without even a single safeguard, even without signing an MOU, he just signed it away. So now that is a reality, but we have recently reminded the Prime Minister, very respectfully told him that the agenda of alliance, as I told you, is now kind of a document that everybody talks about. And if we have to win back the trust of the people of Jammu and Kashmir, it is necessary for the Government of India and for us also that we respect the accords that we reach between ourselves. Unfortunately, that has not been happening in the past. That is why mainstream has suffered a setback in its credibility and in its moral positioning. So we expect that the Prime Minister, like he did in this, announcing this very graciously, this ceasefire, we expect the Prime Minister to take a decision like a statesman on those issues also, so that the people of Jammu and Kashmir feel that the accords that their representatives, their elected representatives have entered into are not mere papers, but they are being respected. That is very essential to bring back Kashmir.
You know, looking at the coalition partners, there's right now a allegation against the senior BJP leaders about the land scam in Nagrota. Why is the government silent about that?
You can call it a scam or whatever, but essentially it's an issue which doesn't fall into the description of scam. It can be a security issue and that will be sorted out.
Thank you.
Thank you.